soon we will reach perfection. What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. Listen, I know I haven't made any. I know y'all probably like coming at me for the Loki thing, because this is definitely a movie review for Five Nights at Freddy's. But listen, okay, I'ma just do Loki to where at the end, which I think today, because today is Thursday, I think the last episode is today. I'm not sure if there's one more after this week's, but I think this is supposed to be the last one. So prepare for a review on the Loki season pretty soon, but it's coming, I promise. But as y'all already know, this is a Five Nights at Freddy's movie review. So I'm sure a lot of you know what Five Nights at Freddy's is. Five Nights at Freddy's became pretty big over the years. I would say it was big when I first got into it. Like, I remember playing the first Five Nights at Freddy's in middle school, but I never, after I did the first night, I never picked it up again, and I kind of just decided to watch other people play it. So, like, I watched Markiplier, I watched different people, Jacksepticeye, we watched Corey Kenshin. Like, we just was watching it because I was too scared to be playing no scary games, so I couldn't even play Slenderman. Slenderman was also pretty big when I was in middle school, but I could not. I literally bought the full game. I remember they had a game on the iPad or something like that. It was like $2, and I bought it, but I never played it at all. Never. I was too scared. I couldn't do it. The most that you would see me even touch the app was when I was at school with my friends and I had a whole bunch of other people around me, okay? So, listen, I was very bad when I was a kid when it came to scary stuff. I got too scared. Like, I thought I was going to have a heart attack and die, okay? So, yeah, so this movie, for starters, yeah, we all understand the premise of what Five Nights at Freddy's is, right? So, Five Nights at Freddy's is basically animatronics kind of come to life, right? Animatronics with personalities, but we all know, like, something terrible happened. The animatronics are possessed by souls and stuff like that. So we kind of know the lore. I'm a guy that kind of knows a bit of the lore, or a lot of the lore on Five Nights at Freddy's. But it's like sometimes I get a little overwhelmed. So I am one of those people that watch, like, game theorists or game theory and, like, every single game that's come out and trying to understand everything or the story that's being told throughout the games that's been coming out and the books that's been selling and stuff like that. So I'm trying to just get an overall view, but I have a general understanding, but I get a little confused on different ends. Like, for instance, I'm not exactly sure who Golden Freddy is. I think, I don't know if Golden Freddy is the person where the bite of 87, like, that was him. I think it was. Actually, now that I think about it, I think the bite of 87 was with the Golden Freddy, right?
It's false. No way. Not this time. We created it. Not this time. No, not this time. It's totally made up.
Right? But going off of what I know with the lore, I kind of tried to, match it up with the movie. Because you know how movies try to change the story up a little bit when it comes to their original source material. That's just the common thing. I don't really know anything or any movie that's come from something that's already been made, like where its source is coming from, like whether it be a book or a game. They always wind up changing some aspect of it. I don't know why they do that. I'm like, well, we all know your franchise because of how the story was already told. So why try to change it to dumb it down for other people when people already understand it? You know what I mean? I like complex stories. I like complex stories that, you know, they're not afraid to go and get people thinking. I'm a person that likes to think and whatnot. Like, you know, if the circumstance serves, but you know, I just like that because then that gets people to be more invested into your franchise. Wouldn't you think? Like, oh, wow, I wonder what that means in what that scene meant. Like, that was very interesting in the movie. I didn't really understand it. So then, yeah, you're going to go and do your research and then boom, you understand. It's that simple. You know, everything doesn't need to be straight and easy to understand for audience sake. You know, just tell the story the way that you want to tell the story. Don't try to appeal just to make it easier to understand. If it's something that you understand and it's your creative mind, then put it out. I'm just tired of people trying to. I feel like there's a lot of movies that suffer from that, where it's like they aren't living up to their full potential because they want to dumb it down for audiences. And for the most part, it seems like a lot of the well-known movies like Memento, movie that was told backwards, and what else? There's more. They're not coming to my head right now, but just big movies like that, they're memorable to a lot of people because of how complicated and interesting the story was, you know? So that's just my opinion on that. I'm sorry, I went on a bit of a rant there. This is supposed to be about Five Nights at Freddy's, the movie review, okay? This is most likely going to be a spoiler heavy, or there's more likely, I'm going to probably say a couple spoilers within this, so this is not going to be labeled as spoiler free, so just be warned. Yeah, so in the movie, it told the story of course, we all know the security guy from the first Five Nights at Freddy's. So that's one thing. This movie was solely based off of the first game. Like, this is supposed to give you nostalgia from the first game, Five Nights at Freddy's. And so, yeah, the pizzeria was shut down, and then there's this guy, his name was, what was his name? Oh my God, I'm awful. The main guy, who the security guy was Mike Schmidt, right? His Mike, or Michael, I think it was just Mike. Or was Mike short for Michael? I don't know. That was basically the main character, the security guy in this situation, because of course there's the best perspective to probably tell the story from would be from the security guard's perspective. But he was fighting to keep his sister. So his sister is, yeah, a child, like maybe 12, 10 years old and whatnot. And she's already having she gets these visions, and she takes the visions that she sees and draws it out on paper and things like that. And I guess the family kind of saw this as a bit of a issue, I guess a social issue or something like that. I'm not too sure, but come to find out, Mike, I noticed this in the film, like he's reading this book. I didn't catch on to it until later on in the movie, but he's reading a book on dream theory. And I guess he's trying to go back to be he's trying to go back to the same moment. So his brother, he had a little brother when he was younger, and the brother got kidnapped. And he was just trying to go back to understand, because I guess it was very real for him, to the point where he thought that he could change the outcome of his brother being kidnapped. So he was trying to change the outcome of his brother being kidnapped, but at the same time, he was trying to find out who the person was that kidnapped his brother. So he kept going back to the same dream over and over and over again, had the same setup so that he can keep going back, and maybe some new revelation would happen or come from it, but it was more likely the same. So yeah, he saw something that I guess triggered in his brain. He was doing his job in the mall, in the security, he was doing security in the mall, and he saw someone just grab a kid on the side that was wandering and whatnot, kind of like snatched him up a little bit. So in his brain, he's like, oh my God, did this kid just get kidnapped? So he's like going through the people and trying to get to them. And then as soon as he catches up to the guy, he starts whacking on him. And then come to find out, that was actually the kid's father. So he was whacking on the kid's father. He didn't even ask no question. He just ran up to him and started just beating him down in a fountain. And he, he lost his job because he wasn't supposed to do that. He messed up. He was beating down the person's father, the kid's father, kid screaming out, "Daddy, no!" And so then he's like, oh, shoot, this was your dad. Oops, my bad. So yeah, he got fired. And apparently this was like a thing that's been happening all the time. And yeah, so then this is what leads. I'm not going to I'm not trying to explain the whole entire movie. I'm just trying to get to the point of how we got to Five Nights at Freddy's, right? So then, yeah, he gets fired, and then he runs into Phone Guy. I guess he kind of offered him a job to work at Five Nights at Freddy's. I'm sorry, I was like thinking of something because something I don't understand. So what I'm not understanding, what I'm not wrapping my head around is why it was him. Why did they want him to work at Five Nights at Freddy's? Why do I keep calling it Five Nights at Freddy's? It's the Fazbear's Pizzeria or Freddy's Pizzeria. I don't know why I keep calling the establishment Five Nights at Freddy's. It's Freddy's Pizzeria. It was leading him on. But yeah, no. So the first night, so yeah, that's how he got the gig at Five Nights at That's how he got the gig at Freddy's Pizzeria. So he called them up after figuring out that he can't fight this case to keep or he's trying to fight the case to keep his sister and not give her away to the aunt who's just trying to keep the kid and get that, what's the money that you get for something like that. And, yeah, so then he winds up working at Freddy's Pizzeria. And so on his first night, he slept and had the dream again, but this time it was more to it. There were these kids that showed up. Of course, each of those kids represented one of the animatronics that was there in the pizzeria. And so he tried to chase one down, but then he didn't catch them. And then, yeah, now he's obsessed with going back to the pizzeria and trying to ask the kids the questions of who took his brother. So just fast forwarding, I guess I just want to explain that I like the part. The movie just kind of felt, it was dark. The movie was dark. Darker than I honestly thought it would be. But I just feel like maybe the movie should have been more focused on the animatronic part. Like, I feel like in the lore, there's so much lore within the Five Nights at Freddy's universe to where they could have literally taken almost all of the interesting things that has happened leading up to the shutdown, leading up to the possessed animatronics and how that place just kind of crumbles all on its own. I don't really think they needed to add this side story with Abby and they want her to be a part of the family and stuff like that. I just think that they could have went along with just, Bite of 87, then we moving on to Crying Child, and then we moving on, and let's we seeing this stuff, but at the same time, I don't know, maybe because there's too much kids involved. I don't know how the movies work when it comes to kids and stuff like that. I really don't. So maybe that's why they had to go a different route about it. But no, for the most part though, I really did enjoy this movie. I really liked it. For the most part, it seemed like it followed through true to the lore. It was all there. I loved watching the animatronics and them doing their thing. That was probably my favorite part of the whole entire movie. My favorite part was when the aunt's little posse members went into the pizzeria to try to, I guess, cause a ruckus and whatnot to make Mike lose his job. They kind of just, started tearing the place apart, and the animatronics got mad, and that was when they kind of did their thing, from the first game, and that was really good. I really enjoyed it. You heard Fox's little dum 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 down the end of the hallway, so that was fun. You saw Chica with the cupcake and whatnot, but I kind of wish that they had the classic little jingle, you know what I mean? Like when you're in the security office in the game, and then Freddy's just like, Like, I wish that was there. It wasn't, but that was still definitely one of my favorite parts of the movie. Then we got to, the whole entire premise where Mike has another dream. Fast forwarding, he has a dream, and the kids tell him, like, oh, you said you wanted information on who took your brother, right? Well, we want Abby and we'll give you your information. And he's like, okay. And then since he already agreed, the animatronics tried to, what? That was crazy. Golden Freddy. Yo, Golden Freddy legit went over to Abby's house. Went to Mike and Abby's house. Bro, because she's able to communicate with the animatronics. Like, they communicate very well with her, they have fun with her, and everything like that. And it was just crazy how Golden Freddy with his messed up eye popped up at their house, picked up Abby, and Abby got in the and that was when we got to see Corey Kenshin. My boy Corey Kenshin was in the movie. He was the taxi driver, and he drove the animatronic and Abby to the pizzeria. Like, that was so crazy to me. That was really crazy. I was like, there's no way that you're going to get in this damn car with an animatronic that just came to come and pick you up. Like, how did the animatronic even get there to begin with? Did the animatronic call a taxi and just went through? And then the taxi driver just, oh, yeah, okay, cool. We got an animatronic that's in the back of the car. I mean, so long as you pay the fare, we're good. I guess that's all it really is, right? So long as you pay the fare, you get your service, right? No matter what. That's all people care about anyway. Money. Doesn't matter if it's an alien sitting in your back seat. As long as you pay up the driver, then you good. The security guard, too, played her part. Vanessa, I thought that she was a very interesting character. Even though she was it was very obvious. Like, they tried to make it seem like it was a mysterious aspect to her, but we already knew her deal. Like, we already knew that something was messed up with her, and she was, like, leading him on, and they kind of dragged that on, like, even after we already knew. It's like, we already know that you are suspect, so we had to deal with her for another, like, 30 to 45 minutes of her being suspect. And it's like, okay, well, when are you gonna get to, like, the knit and grit? Like, we get it, you're sus, and you just keep doing all this sus stuff, and we get it, right? So, Vanessa did her part, and they threw a lot of little Easter eggs and cool aspects into the movie and stuff like that. I really enjoyed it. But yeah, then we get to the end where Abby and Mike and Vanessa, they're trying to fight. At this point, Mike knows who got the who took his brother, and that was William Afton. Everybody knows that name. If you are into the Five Nights at Freddy's lore, everybody knows who William Afton is. He's the guy that created these things, and he's got, like, a very sick mind and stuff like that. But in this movie, phone guy was William Afton. And his introduction, his come through, that was kind of sick. I'm not gonna lie. His little thing, he came through with the eye. He's like, you looking for me? And he came through and he's like, oh, so he tried to tase him and whatnot and whatever. It was just a really fun movie. Like, I was entertained by this movie. I definitely was. And honestly, I really hope that they are able to make a sequel. Like I said, I feel like this was just a little bit more light-hearted than led on to be. Like, it was dark, but I feel like with the lore that we know, it's a lot darker. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's what has a lot of people interested into the story. I mean, like, of course, people make memes into it and make jokes out of it and stuff like that. But I feel like it's a very interesting story. Like, it's an interesting piece. And I feel as though they just didn't really hit the nail on the head when it came to, I guess, putting it out on the screen. But no, I mean, I would recommend it to anybody that is into Five Nights at Freddy's and into that type of stuff. This would not be a movie that I would recommend to you if you don't know about Five Nights at Freddy's already, if that makes sense. I would only recommend this movie to people that know of Five Nights at Freddy's, because then you would appreciate the movie more. But just as a casual, I want to go watch a horror flick, I wouldn't suggest that I wouldn't say that this movie would really do it for you. Yeah, but for me, going off of my own like thing with being a Five Nights at Freddy's fan and knowing the lore and being able to appreciate everything that they've done in this movie, I'm going to have to give this movie a 7. This movie's going to get a 7 out of 10 for me because I definitely did enjoy it. I was entertained from beginning to end. There were some slow parts to it. And I think the only slow bit for me was just the whole outside thing with the aunt and stuff like that, and just dealing with that side of things. But when we were at the pizzeria, that was always where I wanted to be when I was watching the movie. So, okay, not like that. I didn't want to be there, like not personally, but I'm saying for movie's sake, from watching the movie, whenever we got scenes in the pizzeria, that was when I enjoyed the movie most, right? So, yeah, it gets a 7 out of 10. Of course, yeah, if y'all... Let me know what you guys thought of Five Nights at Freddy's in the comments down below. Loki review coming pretty soon. Also, the Marvels just came out today. I'm going to try to see if I can watch it sometime soon, and I'm going to get a review for that out for you guys as well. And of course, if you like this video, if you like what I had to say, or whatever the case may be, maybe you like me, just leave a like, subscribe, share, and yeah, do y'all thing. Oh, and make sure you hit that notification bell. Don't play with me. If you are subscribed and you do not have that notification bell on, I'm going to find you. And I'll figure out what I'm going to do with you when I find you. Okay? Okay, cool. As long as we're on the same page. And until then, guys, I will see you guys in the next one.